Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome to yet another games you should play video type thing. It's been a while since I've made one of these, and that's because, well, From the Depths takes up a lot of time, but I felt like doing another one. And so here it is. This is Darkest Dungeon, and this is a bit of an older game, so you might be asking why exactly I'm covering it. Like, why am I recommending this game? Why am I basically doing what is an unsponsored promotion of it for a game that's several years old? And yeah, so why should you play it? Well, you should play it now because, one thing, there's a sequel coming up. I believe a teaser trailer was released earlier this year that I only just found out about. As usual, I'm behind the times on everything. And the next few reasons are the rest of the video. So, let's start off with, paradoxically, why you wouldn't want to play this. Well, for a start, this game is hard. It is notably difficult. It is, well, how would you describe it? This is a turn-based roguelike dungeon crawler. And it's a roguelike in the sense that if your heroes die, they stay dead. There's no bringing them back. And a little disclaimer right now, I have never finished this game. I've never played it all the way through, even though I've played several hundred hours of it. I've started playing it again quite recently, and I'm enjoying it a lot more because I finally figured out how to play it. Just the kind of mental state you need to be in to play it and enjoy it. Because it is very stressful, that's the other thing. Like, stress is a recurring theme in this game. Your heroes get stressed. And you will also freak out, especially when you first start playing it, because everything will go wrong, won't know how to deal, and it's just be a bit of a problem. And it's also completely RNG based. It's all about those random numbers. There's dice rolls for everything from, like, whether your attacks will land, whether attacks will hit you, whether you will get criticals, whether enemies will get critical hits on you, and also for my least favorite part about this game is the way that food and hunger works, because it's random checks every so often as you move throughout a dungeon, so there's no, like, food meter that gets filled or gets depleted, so it's really annoying. And there's been dungeons in which my heroes have never gotten hungry at all, and then there's been dungeons in which they've eaten like half their food supplies before you're even a quarter of the way through the map, and that's not so fun. That's rather irritating. So yeah, if you don't like RNG, and if you don't like games which are very deliberately challenging, this game might not be for you. But there are good reasons why you should play this game. And, like, for the usual reasons I do videos like this, is that there's no other game like it. I can't remember if I've played any other turn-based RPGs apart from this one, but I've never played something like this. This is gritty, this is believable. I don't want to say realistic because there's magic and eldritch horrors and all that stuff. And, like, the game itself is kind of, you can think of it a lot like hardcore Dungeons and Dragons. That's what inspired it. The devs basically were playing Dungeons and Dragons, massive nerds, lovely people. But, like, they thought about just how dreadful dungeon crawling would actually be, how stressful it would be, how unhygienic it would be, how relentlessly hard and oppressive it would be to do what fantasy heroes do, like, all the time, all day, every day. So that's the premise of it, and it's a good premise, and it's one I like a lot. And because the game's so difficult, when you do succeed, like in any way, like say you manage to save a hero's life that you've actually gotten fond of, don't do that, by the way. Don't get fond of your peeps. And, like, because the odds are stacked against you, when you beat the odds, it feels so good. When your heroes land a critical hit, and when you beat a boss, when you beat a dungeon, like, particularly the higher up ones, it's all comes together, it's all worth it, it's great. And there's just, all the polish is really good. Like, you'll notice this is a 2D game. It's all based, well, around PNG images, really, which also makes it pretty straightforward to mod. Speaking as someone who has no idea how to mod anything, I am told that it's pretty straightforward. There were new characters being modded into the game just even before it was released. This used to be in early access. I got it when it was early access, and yeah, I have a soft spot for early access games, I guess, because you can see them improve over time. And I get that same buzz that, like, I used to get when getting an entirely new game. With early access, with every update, is just a new patch is out. Ooh, what is this? Is this going to be the next big thing? Is it going to be awesome? And the answer is, yes it is. And basically the premise is awesome, the visuals are fantastic, and they age incredibly well. Because it's this 2D, like, dark gothic art style, it basically, like, I can see this game being pretty timeless. And the sequel, hopefully, will just improve on basically everything, and if they keep the same art style, they won't fall into that trap that a lot of games fall into, which is just all the budget and the programming time gets blown on visuals, which is almost unavoidable in this day and age where you have to make pretty trailers to catch people's attention. But I think Darkest Dungeon 2, when it gets made, like, it's in really early development stage. It's might be early access, and then again it might not, depends on what the devs decide. But I reckon they're gonna be putting a lot of thought into the actual mechanics of the game, and hopefully they'll redo the stupid food hunger thing, because that was always annoying. Yeah, so like, yeah, so the sound is also awesome, the music is great, it's that kind of music to get your heart pumping and go like, oh my god, things are going horribly. And, like, the sounds as well, like, every time, like, an attack lands, like, all the attack sounds are unique. The sound of stress, the sound of readying up, it all comes together really well. That's one of the reasons like, you tend to find that, well, it's not a hard and fast rule, but indie games, because they don't have a budget for graphics or, like, high-level multiplayer or anything like that, they tend to put the time and budget towards other things, like audio. And audio is one of my favorite things about video games. Like music, sound effects, atmosphere. This game definitely has all those things. It's fantastic. And so, having banged on a little bit about how cool this game is and how you will have equal amounts of fun and not so fun playing it, here's some handy hints if you have been swayed by my words and you want to give it a try. You have about 18 months, which is about a year and a half before the sequel gets released, so I recommend getting into this now. Link to it will be in the description. But yeah, so, helpful hint is, like, there's a lot of things to learn about the game, there's a lot of things you need to keep in mind, and preparation is key, knowing what to do when, and, like, all that stuff, but the main important thing is be zen, be calm. Don't let the game freak you out, because you have to let things go. Sometimes, well, you will lose your characters, you will lose your heroes, no matter what, particularly the brand new ones that you get off the stagecoach. They will die in stupid and annoying ways and unexpected ways, because RNG is a thing. They will die in stupid, annoying ways, they will go insane, stress themselves out, get a heart attack. That's what happens if your hero gets too stressed out. First, they go crazy and really sabotage the whole party as a result, and then they will straight up get a heart attack and die. So, don't let your heroes get too stressed. And so yeah, low-level heroes are completely expendable, don't get too fond of them. I've made that mistake so often, and it's only in my most recent playthrough I finally got into my head. It's like, dude, relax. They will die, it's fine. They're level 0 schlubs, you will just deal with it. It'll be fine. There'll be more coming on the stagecoach all the time. And high-level heroes are only slightly less expendable. You might have fully upgraded their armor and weapons and their skills. They've spent lots of money to keep them sane and healthy and happy, but yeah, when they die, it's part of the game, so don't sweat it. Like, raging at this game is really useless. It does not help at all. And another thing is party composition. Like, particularly when I was first playing this game, I would just send out whatever heroes I had. Not the best idea. You want to build a party that works well together, and certain heroes are much easier to use than others, and they synergize with certain heroes better than others. So Like, for example, there's a condition in the game called marked, which means that the target will take more damage from certain attacks. And there are multiple heroes which mark things, and there's multiple heroes who have attacks that do bonus damage to marked targets. Sticking them together in a party is really important for ensuring that they do their job right. Because if you don't have them, a lot of attacks which rely on the target being marked are considerably less effective. So there's that kind of thing. And there's typical RPG stuff. You want to combo things in a good way, and yeah, you gotta be smart. You gotta plan ahead. And I guess that's the other thing, is like focus on damage. Your best defense is a good offense. So give your heroes stuff that makes them move faster. So speed is an attribute and determines when they go, when it is their turn to do stuff. And if you get multiple turns to do stuff before your enemies do, you can kill one or two of them before they even get one move off, and that is a big deal. That helps a lot. So yeah, and the last thing is that there are multiple objects in the environment you can interact with. It helps to memorize what they do and what items you can use to kind of make them safe to deal with. Because there are some which you never want to mess with at all. Like, if you see a bookcase, if you see a pile of scrolls or something like that, 9 times out of 10, don't bother, don't touch it. This universe is partially inspired by Lovecraft, so there's eldritch abominations, there's nasty stuff written down, and just you don't want to touch it. So I guess the lesson there is reading is bad for you, kids. Stick to video games when it comes to reading stuff. That's terrible advice. But yeah, that's about it for this video. It's like, I love this game tremendously. It is not just one of my favorite roguelites, it's one of my favorite RPGs overall. It's just behind Skyrim in that regard. And I've played Skyrim to death. So yeah, that's about it. So, I hope if you've tried this game before that this video has inspired you to give this game a second chance, because it is worth it. It is a whole heaping bunch of fun. I'm excited for the sequel when it finally comes out. I try not to get too hyped about stuff, but, like, you know, sometimes I can't help myself. Sometimes it's just like, yes, this thing is coming out and it's going to be awesome. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon if you like. And I will see you next time in whatever game comes next. Farewell!